Welcome back to the Larry Lakers, where it's been a great win, one of the closest wins, 106, 103. And welcome back again, Ethan from UCLA Radio. How are you, Ethan?
I'm doing great. I'm very pleased by that win. That was super exciting. Real nail biter down at the end of it.
What a close game. At the first quarter, it looked like we were ahead, looked like that long defence, a record 10 steals in the first quarter
Yeah.
or 10 turnovers caused. And then I think it was third quarter, we let them back in. What did you think then? Was it, I think it was like a 12 or 14 point run from Phoenix.
Yeah, when they had that 14-point run, I was getting kind of nervous, but then I saw LeBron shake his head. No, he said, "I'm not allowing that."
he
He
won't
took
let
over.
the, he won't let this happen. And what a master. It came down to a pretty close exchange all the way through the fourth quarter. It felt like we'd create a turnover the way we were in the first quarter. And you think things are
hmm
great, but then we'd make a crazy turnover, just enough to keep the nail biting.
Yeah. Yeah, in that first quarter, I saw those calzones that you've been talking about,
Yes.
and Vando and Torian Prince were locking it down on the defensive side.
Yeah, I think it was Tedo from Sacramento. He wanted to bring the concentration in. He knew about the tacos for full time and he wanted calzones for quarter time. He thought we couldn't reward players with enough money and you'd have to put it in the salary cap. So he thought we'd work on the crowd and they might influence the players. And some of your commentary from last time came famous through the week too. The faces of the people around that interchange between Emi Adoku, the coach there, and LeBron James. And a few people have sliced it in, and I think you picked it up. There was some shock on
Yeah,
those
I
watching.
mean, they were taken aback. The jaws on the floor about whatever Udoka said.
Conversation, unreal, and obviously, yeah, it was different. LeBron very polite, saying it was Thanksgiving conversation. Now, LeBron,
Yeah.
is this the oldest guy in the league? He scored 15 of the Lakers' first 19 points in that fourth quarter. Incredible!
Yeah, and he assisted on the other four, I think.
Wow,
He was
wow.
doing it all.
And we shot a terribly low percentage. I think we're about 37% just to keep it close.
It's
Frustratingly
amazing
low.
they won with that shooting percentage.
Unreal. A couple of times I was worried. I thought LeBron had the ball too long before he passed off very late in the shot clock to some guys. But
hmm
then coming down to the wire, it was Austin Reaves they trusted to bring the ball up, and he's taken a shot with 10 seconds left on the shot clock, a long three-pointer, and smashed it. I don't think he'd scored two three-pointers in a game for a while, so he's got
Yeah,
at least three this game, and what a hero! Smashed it.
a
But
very
instead,
heartwarming moment.
Austin Reeves, what a champion. Mate, he'll be well received in Los Angeles tonight and tomorrow.
Oh yeah, he's finally starting to play worth his contract.
Yeah, the way he finished last season, I guess. Fantastic.
Yep.
And I didn't think Kevin Durant could miss 31 points. I think he's hit about 70%
Oh
or
man,
something.
it was like almost every three he was taking from all around the arc he was making until
Yes.
up until the end.
And Booker, and then in that third quarter, Grayson Allen started to get going as
Yeah, he
well,
was
made a
catching
run on
fire.
him. Eric Gordon for a minimum contract. Yeah,
Yeah, he
unreal,
was putting the
unreal.
pressure on the Lakers.
Yeah, and here's our questions then from the listeners, and thank you. That's why it's the
All
Larry
right.
Lakers dribbling chit chat. Here's the first one. What about those last few nail biting minutes? Asked Sean of Abbey Takeaway. It was give and take, and he thought LeBron was almost the coach on the floor. Clever enough when I think a ball was being possibly was fouled, but it looked like a
Yeah,
ball was being sort of propelled loose from Austin Reeves down the
yeah,
line. And I think he called a clever timeout and then even
yeah.
trying
Him
to
and
inbound it.
Darvin.
Wow. And then they had timeouts to inbound the ball
Yep,
and he called it again. Is he the coach on the
yep.
floor, Ethan? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, this is year 21 for him. He's not a rookie. He knows what he's doing. But Darvin Ham was also making that timeout
Okay.
call at the same time that LeBron did.
Great
They
minds.
both, had that foresight.
Yeah, great minds think alike. Obviously, the coach on the floor, genius. And it was interesting too that he brought it up as point guard in that last minute 45, but then trusted Austin Reaves inside that last minute. And I think we got out
Yeah,
to a 4 point lead, five, but it was so nerve wracking that they might be able to score. And I think we were we had the chance to go ahead and put the game out of reach.
with those
AD.
Anthony Davis free throws. Yeah.
Oh, what did you think then, Ethan?
Oh man, I was just glad he made one of them,
The
but
first
I
one?
but when they had the ball in KD's hands to end the game, I had no idea he was going to airball it
Oh,
like that.
he can pull
He
up
had
and
been draining all of them.
yeah, it was lucky. And we must have frustrated Booker with our defence. He hadn't scored a high
Yeah.
percentage, but he was really pushing off on players. One of our fans here asked, one of the listeners asked, what have you got to do to get an offensive foul on Devin Booker? I guess he's a superstar and referees are probably careful. But did you think he
Yeah.
might have got a charge call on either Austin Reeves or Torian Prince or Cam Reddish
Yeah,
there?
he definitely should have. And there were some times where he was getting the whistles, but like he came down on Cam Reddish's face, and I saw him shoving Reeves in the back, especially at the end of the game. He was all over him. He was making a lot of contact. He seemed to be getting real frustrated with the way that Cam Reddish was getting very physical with him.
Yeah, do you think the defence was leading to a bit of his offensive fouls, Ethan?
Yeah, it looked
Yeah,
like it. It looked like Devin Booker was getting very, very frustrated with the
yeah.
physicality of the game.
Yeah, whereas KT, he just seemed impossible to stop. But Booker, he did look a little bit frustrated. Mate, was Austin Reeves the hero of the game? Asks Jai, the retro shoe guy. I think Austin, 29 points, is that right? 7 of 16 and 3 of 8 from 3 pointers. Is he the sneaky hero? I know LeBron's going to get a lot of praise. AD a fair
Yeah,
bit of praise, but what about Austin Reeves, Ethan?
I think Austin Reeves should get a lot of praise because he's starting to play the way that we expect him to play, and we haven't
Yeah,
really seen a whole lot of that from him this season.
yeah,
LeBron played like LeBron James, while
yes.
Austin Reeves is playing like the Austin Reeves that we saw in the playoffs last year, and I think it's great to see him stepping up.
Yeah, it is fantastic. It's exciting, and you were worried it was sort of all the critics seem to be saying it's a Linsanity story, Linsanity, but I think he's more than that. But he's got to prove it, hasn't he? He's got the pay rise now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he definitely
wow.
does have to prove it because he heard the critics, for the beginning of the season. He
Yeah, I
knows the
guess
pressure's on.
the Lakers, we've really most of the money sort of AD and LeBron, and then instead of going out and signing someone, I think we reinvested in Rui at sort of 16 to 18 million, and Austin Reeves at sort of 14 million a year, and was
Yeah.
able to get Russell down around that 17, 18 million.
Hmm.
So really, if you're outside of those guys, LeBron, AD, and Russell, who's sometimes great and sometimes okay, but seems to have improved his
Yeah.
assists, really reduced his turnovers. Somebody else has got to step up if you're going to win the season. Does that sound right? We need something out of Austin and Rui.
Yeah, I think Austin much more than Rui, but it is nice when Rui steps it up too.
Yeah, you had the Batman mask on today, mate. Could he have
Yeah,
been a
he was playing
superhero?
like Batman. He was flying all over the court.
He was involved. He didn't seem to be worried about getting
Yeah, he even made a
smacked.
three with the mask
Yeah.
on.
Yes. Yeah. Great mask. And then he slips it up, and it's like a great little hat when he comes onto the bench. It looks like a great little baseball cap. Maybe he can switch as some sort of emergency arises and they need a superhero. Did the oldest man in the league really just play 40 minutes? Monteo from Manila. Did we need every one of those 40, Ethan?
It certainly looked like it. There were some points where you could tell LeBron was the driving force behind the Lakers in the scoring offense. He did not want to lose that game, and that was one of those LeBron moments that you could see in his
Just
face.
flicked a switch and said,
Yeah.
"This isn't going to happen on my watch," sort of thing. Wow, wow, 40 minutes from the oldest man in the league. LeBron, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. AD, 27 points, 15 rebounds, and 2 blocks. He got a couple where it looked like he was right next to the basket, and just somehow they missed, whether they're pushing slightly at his hips underneath and he's a little light. But there was a few frustrating close misses, Ethan.
from AD
Yes, I thought so.
and LeBron. They both had some
Yes.
close misses, and you could tell that they were getting frustrated about it. But I think still AD played well under the rim. He was getting a lot of those offensive. I think he had 9 offensive
Wow.
rebounds,
Wow. We need
and he was putting
those.
a lot of pressure anytime that somebody was pressing him in the paint. And we saw LeBron get 5 steals.
Yes. Yes. Equals his Lakers record, apparently. 5 steals. That's great, isn't it? And it must
Yeah.
show the other guys are pushing up and pressuring the pass. It was
Hmm.
fantastic. It looked like that long arm defense we can put on first quarter was going to run away
Yeah.
with it, but they came back in there third quarter. KD 31 points, 12 or 17. That's a great percentage, Ethan. 12 or 17. A
Yeah.
lot of those are outside shots. He's fantastic.
Yeah. Four or
Well,
seven from outside. Kevin
yeah,
Durant is just one of those generational talents, and he proved that he is still him. But
yeah,
yeah, that last shot,
yeah.
that's what makes a win or
That's
a
it.
loss.
That's it. And I was still nervous when he brought it up, and I thought
Yeah.
he won't even have to. And he got a good look. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, like he's
It
falling
was
into the
certainly better than
crowd.
some of those other ones that he had and made.
Real, unreal. Devin Booker, 21, 6 of 16. Do you think that's part of our defence on him? 6 of 16, Ethan?
Yeah, I do. I think it was part of what we were talking about earlier with Cam Reddish, and I saw Jared Vanderbilt on him, and I saw Torian Prince on him. I saw Austin Reaves force him to give up a pass. It was
Yeah.
it was a beautiful defense by the Lakers today.
Excellent. And I think it was a big part of the win. The Lakers only shot 37%, but LeBron and AD were thankfully closer to 50. We couldn't hit a point for at one stage there, Ethan.
Yeah, yeah. During that 14-0 run, it was starting to look bleak. It looked like D'Angelo Russell had gone cold, and he
Yeah.
wasn't making those same shots that he was making at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
But it
interesting. Did
wasn't
you?
until we saw, uh, I think LeBron had that layup, and then we got a couple
Yes.
fouls, and then Austin Reeves hit the three, and then Max Christie hit the three, and that's when
Yes.
we said the run's over. Phoenix called the
Yeah.
timeout.
It started to, yes, that was beautiful. We did enough to get them to call an early timeout. We're criticised sometimes for not calling them early enough. I think we called them early enough tonight. Darvin Ham
Hmm.
really sensed any change in the game. Did Austin just get the trust of the King and AD as well as on that shot with 10 seconds to go on the shot clock? Magic from Figueroa. LeBron had been bringing it up that last 2 minutes, almost playing point guard, and then they seemed
Yeah.
to let him bring that one up. And he took the shot from the 45. What were you thinking at that stage, Ethan?
Yeah, I mean, throughout that whole second half, it seemed like anytime LeBron wasn't taking a shot, he was putting it in Austin Reeves' hands because
Yes.
he trusts him. And I think that they've trusted him for a while. They've just been waiting for him to step back up to that level that they know that he's capable of.
Yeah. I think so. Isn't that great too, though? They've been patient with him and they haven't sort of panicked and benched him entirely or left him off quarters. It was interesting they closed with him instead
Yeah.
of D'Angelo, even that last 7 seconds, where I thought,
Hmm.
bring on free throw shooters because they're going to foul you as soon as they inbound it. But
Yeah.
D'Angelo wasn't brought back on and he's long to reach, long arms to reach for a ball.
Yeah.
Uh,
But sometimes you got to go with a guy that's playing well.
yes,
D'Angelo started the game nicely. He was making some good plays, causing some good ball movement, but by that second half, he wasn't doing the same thing. He was trying to
yeah,
drive the ball
yeah,
into the paint himself and missing layups, missing shots.
yeah.
But Austin Reeves, he had 20 points off the bench.
Wow.
That's
Uh,
the guy you want to
stay
have the
with him.
ball at the end of the game.
I like it. Dance with the one that brang you, I think they say, and they
Yep.
stuck with him. And And it is hard to be on the bench a whole quarter and just come on with 7 seconds to go, too, I guess. It puts the guy under pressure, I'm supposing, if you bring someone on just for that last 7 seconds. Um,
Yeah, that's true. That's also true.
was this tighter and more nerve-wracking than it needed to be? Jono of Scotown, we had a great lead first quarter. It had to even out at some stage a little bit, but I didn't think it was going to be a 14-0 run, Ethan. What were you thinking third quarter there?
Yeah, third quarter the panic switch was going off. But going into this game, Phoenix had a lot of they've had a lot of high expectations this whole season. So I although I was hopeful, I honestly did not expect the Lakers to be able to pull it off. This was our first game that we're playing against them with Devin Booker in for
Yes.
the Suns, and I thought it was going to be a close one, but I had a feeling that Phoenix was going to take it. So to see the Lakers fight tooth and nail to dominate them was it was very heartwarming.
That's great, isn't it? And a couple of wins in a row now. We seem to have been winning one,
Yep,
losing one, winning one. Nice to get on a
stringing
bit
a
of a
couple
roll.
together.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they had been those people who've snuck above us, Phoenix and teams like
Yeah,
that, and we haven't quite been able to put a couple together. And another
yeah,
in-season tournament. I don't know if it's a fluke, but there's some magic. I think now it means something because it was clearly a quarter final. But
yeah,
we won games through the pool round of the in-season tournament, and it just
yeah.
started to build momentum. And we didn't know if players would be interested or whether people would be interested. But is something happening there, Ethan? You're in LA. Is it the talk of the town, or is it? Are we just lucky that we're in it at this stage?
I think Lakers fans are happy to be here, but for fans of teams that didn't make it, they're all saying, "Oh, I don't really care that much about the in-season tournament. It doesn't mean anything." But I have a feeling if their teams were in, then they would be caring.
They'd be caring if they're off to Las Vegas.
Yeah,
Fantastic, fantastic, mate. Did Austin get the trust? Was it? Oh, did LeBron dribble a little too long, too late, too often? Asked D Styles. There was a couple of times we were caught really late in the shot clock. But are we standing around? I can't imagine he doesn't pass it. Earlier in the game, when he saw open cutters, he hits him with the ball. Are we
yeah,
watching a little bit, or is it a two-way thing, or have we got to get the ball in other people's hands a bit sometimes, Ethan?
yeah. I think LeBron was ball hogging a little bit in that second half, but for the most part, he was producing points. It wasn't until the Suns started to double team him and put that pressure on him that then he started to send the ball to Austin Reaves.
Yeah.
But Austin Reaves was cooking too. So
He produced. Thank God he produced, mate, tonight.
yeah,
What about the frustrating fourth quarter? We seem to create turnovers back in the style of our first quarter defence, but then we seem to make a turnover or a close miss. Even I think LeBron hopped on 1 foot and took a three, and it went in and out of the ring. A couple of his shots,
yep.
they weren't necessarily close ones. That
And
was
then
from
I
D
think he started bleeding
Styles.
after that shot too.
Oh yeah, someone had hit him. You think there?
Yeah, and then there was the loose ball foul on Devin Booker. I think that's when they had to sit him because that was his fifth.
Yes, yeah, and it seems to be hard to get a charge on, but they did get him a few times, and I think the
Hmm.
coaching staff around from 4 and 5 fouls had to obviously very careful on five. What have you got to do to get an offensive foul on Booker? I think we talked about that in the start. He was very aggressive with the ball. I guess he's been a star
Yeah.
for them. They've been winning. Sometimes he's been playing without KD and
Hmm.
they've been winning with him. Now that they were both together, I was really fearful that they might, especially because we've beaten them twice. I thought
Yeah,
we'd have to
without
be,
Devin Booker.
yeah, we'd have to be lucky to be able to. And they were close games. We only sort of won. We're a bit worried going in that they might have the advantage, and I'm not sure. I think some of the betting had them as favourites, but not all of it though.
Yeah, definitely. I was fearful that the Suns would have the advantage, especially looking at the spread going into the game. But as far as the aggression from Devin Booker, I think that came from the strong defensive pressure that the Lakers were putting on him. And although he was getting a lot of fouls on us, we were also fouling him a lot. I saw, I think it was Vanderbilt came down on his ankle pretty hard.
Kyle Vando, he might not have his in-game timing. He looks muscular. He was taking free throws there, and I thought, well, while your heel's been injured, it looks like he's been in the
Yeah, he's,
gym.
he's yoking.
Yeah, fantastic.
He looks
And
tall too.
yeah, yeah, and
He just
maybe
looks like a big guy in general on that court.
he's been stretching. First quarter, Calzones and Tacos, says Tedo in Sacramento. Last game at the end, I mean, we've got Australians. It's only a dollar of ours only gets 60 something US cents at the moment with inflation and things like that. But people are going overseas hoping to get these tacos, and it's still a good deal. But you're telling us at the end of last game, they're worth about $1.29 full price. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. $1.29 for two tacos, by the way.
Oh,
They're
is it
about the size
too?
of the lower half of my face.
Oh,
They're not
okay.
they're not bad for their value, but it is it is just a cracked tortilla, soggy at the bottom, with a slice of cheese, a slice of American cheese, and the
It,
mystery meat.
it's worth a chance, but maybe not the $2,000 flight over and the ticket. It's
No,
a nice bonus to the win, perhaps. Yeah.
yeah,
I
worth a dollar
won't.
29, but not a flight to the
Not
U.S.
the flight. And I'm sure they're very good sponsors, Jack in the Box. But if you've got one around the corner, take the opportunity. But maybe not a $2,000 flight. Um,
Yeah, they've
for,
got the same deal for the Rams and the Dodgers out here too.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's good. Oh, maybe locals are eating all the time. What about 10 turnovers in that first quarter? We talked a bit about three names as asked. That would seem to be evidence of that long five guys that we can put on, including our favourite Max
Yeah,
Christie at times. Not just
yeah,
Cam Reddish and not just Vando, but Christie. And at one stage, when we'd had a bad run, as you said, it looked like it was going to be a steal, recovered the steal, threw it up, and we hadn't been hitting many threes. I think LeBron had hit a runaway layup and said, we haven't been going in the
yep.
paint. I'm going to show you how to go in the paint. A high percentage shot. And then what about Max Christie? Hit the three.
Yeah, he hit that three. I was happy to see him hit the three. He was not shooting 100% from three like he did the other night, but still, that three came at just the right moment for the Suns start to worry. Oh, we're starting to slip.
It was a magic little one, as you said, a couple of little things. That one, I think Austin hit one and a quick timeout, as you said. It was good to
Hmm.
see them force it to think about how quickly to take timeouts when pressure's been on. Our
Yep,
coach there,
he's
Darren
playing with the
Hand.
big boys now.
Yeah, a season high 21 offensive rebounds from one of our regulars, Big Muns Blocks Tons. What do you think of that? We've been criticised for our rebounding in the past, Ethan.
Yeah, I I saw that, and I saw the second chance points. I saw AD get not only the offensive rebound but the putback. It was
Oh,
it was great. That's
yeah.
what we need out of him if we're gonna try to compete with some of these other big teams in the West.
And in that quarter where we were missing so many little putbacks and close ones, one of the
Hmm.
trailers wasn't the biggest man on the court. Didn't Austin Reaves fly through trailing one of the misses and put it back in? Not quite a putback dunk, but two hands up, really tall,
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was
bravely.
up there.
Yeah,
He looked
yeah.
like he wanted to win it pretty badly.
No, he might like Vegas as well. There. Now, LeBron five steals. You've mentioned that equals his Lakers record. That was from Tim Hugs at Destinations Anywhere. LeBron, is he finishing drives with more finesse this year? But I realise his foot was hurt late last year. But he was sort of. He is a big, strong man. He's sort of knocking people over, getting charges
Yeah.
late last year. But that's from the King at Carabar, which I think's down in Queanbeyan, just outside
Hmm.
Canberra in Australia, the nation's capital. But yeah, do you
Okay.
think he's got a little bit of a softer touch round the basket, or is he getting older and wiser? Is he watching Luca? What's going on?
I think it's a combo of all of those things. This is his 21st year, so he has a veteran mindset, and we saw that, between him hawking the ball on those steals as well as that timeout at the end. LeBron is playing like he's been LeBron for 20 years.
Genius, genius, and yeah, or maybe he works on something every off season, and this season was one. He's three-pointing. He seems to, like Larry Bird used to, he seems to add something every time.
Yeah.
The Lakers seem to stop going inside third quarter. It says Big Fins at Saxon wins, or were they going inside and just narrowly missing shots? Is it a bit of both, Ethan? Did we stop going to
It,
and start missing threes? What sort of happened in that 14-0 run?
it was a little bit of both. It was uh Austin Reaves missed a couple, LeBron was missing a couple, AD missed a couple, D'Lo had gone completely cold,
Yes.
and the Suns were starting to put double teams on our guys, and they were reading our offense better, and then they were turning that into points on the other end with those Grayson Allen and KD threes.
Yeah, that Grayson Allen, he was on fire for a while there, and I thought, how do they get a guy like Eric Gordon on a minimum as well? But thankfully, it's sort of we reopened, and it started to be a bit of a sharing lead instead of a 14-0 run for either side, little runs
Yeah.
each way. The Big Bowl Vegas Times, Parko at the Honeyman, and I think it's going to be Milwaukee beat the Knicks today. And New Orleans Pelicans,
Mhm.
were you surprised when they beat Sacramento, Ethan, or are you not so surprised about them? Or is that this in-season tournament? Anything can happen.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit of that in-season tournament. Anything can happen. But I did feel like it would be a toss-up between the Pelicans and the Kings. The Kings play well, but we've seen them not do so great in the clutch. We saw that in the playoffs last year. I just don't think they're ready for that yet. But I think Zion really wanted to prove himself. BI had a good game, and I'm excited for that matchup.
Yeah, and quite the Lakers connection with that trade, of course, for Anthony Davis, and
Yeah.
they've still got some players there with Ingram, of course. What about Indiana beating the Celtics? They're an exciting team, mate. Indiana will be playing in one of those games here. It looks like it'll
Hmm.
be.
Against the Bucks.
Yeah, Indiana versus the Bucks, the game before the Lakers.
Yeah.
Exciting
Indiana,
team, high
that's a
scoring.
scrappy team.
Yeah.
Very high scoring. Tyrese Halliburton is putting up a lot of points.
Yes.
And I think I read something that they're not making a whole lot of money over there on that Pacers team. So they're highly motivated to get this win.
And because I think $500,000 to each player for the win. Is
Hmm.
that right? Yeah, and I think there's still some money for the losing team. If you've got to get to the final though, Ethan, does that sound right? And
Yeah, I think
yeah,
it's 250
okay.
for just making it to the final.
Wow, wow. So they'll be pretty motivated. And you might have to score 150 points to beat them.
Yeah. Yeah. But if our defense plays like they played tonight, then I think we'll be able to handle it. No problem.
Yeah, yes. Let's have a quick run before we run out of time here. We've got AD played the 39 minutes, got the 27 points. Torian Prince, 27 minutes there for his five. Cam Reddish, 30 minutes. I thought he only got 4 points there, Cam Reddish, but still valuable. Seemed to really sort of frustrate the opposition.
Yeah, he was really frustrating both Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. He was forcing turnovers and fouls out of the both of them.
Rui Hachimura's had a real plus minus of plus five, 21 minutes there, just shy of eight, but he hit one really nice three-pointer at one of four. But obviously for his
Yep.
plus five, it can be deceptive when you're on. He might have been on for part of that late first quarter where we had a good run. But good to have him back. I think LeBron passed it to him down low, and it looked like he was too far under the basket, but it was just a beautiful, soft dunk. And I thought, wow,
Yeah.
he got up really quickly from no run up.
Yeah, the points that he did score, it looked very nice. I'm eager to see him play back at his full potential though, like he was in the playoffs.
Yes, yeah. Jackson Hayes got a bit of time to give AD a bit of rest at the start of the
Uh-huh.
quarters, and he was, believe it or not, plus four in his real plus minus. We actually did all right with Jackson Hayes on the floor. Yeah, at one stage he had very quick fouls or something, but he
Yeah.
two quick fouls, but he did something tonight. He was all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like he was also contributing to that defensive pressure on Devin Booker, and I mean he let Kevin
Oh,
Durant take a couple good threes, but still
yeah.
he was there contesting every shot.
He looked to get a beautiful block on Grayson Allen that was called a foul, and Grayson Allen had thrown his
Yeah,
arm out to him, and they said maybe the foul's on the lower body, but the ball was a long way up in the air. He's quite the athlete, isn't he? Exciting.
yeah, he got way up for that one.
Yeah, yeah. Jackson
He
Hayes,
was
and the
almost at
great
like the top of the board.
yes, and the great news is a real plus minus, a real positive in the plus minus, but zero on the points. One of our listeners
Mm.
earlier on was asking, could he wear 0-0, like the great Robert Parrish, I think, over at the Celtics. But Austin Reaves, 27 minutes, 7 of 16 on his shooting, 3 of 8, 6 rebounds, 2 of those offensive. He sneaks in, doesn't he, with the tall timber?
Yeah, he does.
He,
He sneaks in at the end of plays to just right in between where they can't box him out, and then he'll get those second chance points, or he'll come down with a rebound.
Yeah, I thought Max Christie was unlucky not to get a few more minutes, 8 minutes. So I thought he might have earned a few more there, particularly with that three. And his defense, he
Yeah.
adds something, doesn't he?
Yeah, he adds a lot of energy. He's very
Yeah,
youthful, and you could see the way that he is applying that pressure on everybody.
yeah, yeah. Rightio. So the next game there for us. What are your concerns, mate? We've got to take on the Pelicans, and we haven't. This was different because we've seen Phoenix a bit this season. Haven't seen the
Hmm.
Pelicans. We'll have to go and watch them. I think we've got about 60 seconds left on our link to LA. What are your quick thoughts, Ethan? Who should we be watching for? What about this Grand Theft Turismo guy, the guy that was unsigned and they got him there and he's a little guard and sneaks up from behind and steals the ball. And I think they've just got CJ McCollum back recently. He's playing and the
Yeah,
big centre from Lithuania as well. They've got some players.
yeah. The center is just barely bigger than AD, but I think that our size overall is still going to be great. Jackson Hayes will come back and give him some help.
They've got some athletic wings as well, haven't they, that they've drafted since the AD trade? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they have, but I think the Lakers will take him.
The Lakers can take them, especially
The
with
Lakers can take
Vegas.
him.
We won't get
Yep.
distracted by Vegas. Rightio.
I
With
think we'll have the
what's
size. I think we'll outmatch him.
beautiful. 8 points or more, do you think, Ethan?
Is that the spread?
I don't know. I'm just thinking, what would you go with?
I would go with 5. I think it'll
Okay.
be close.
Five, good, a tight one, but we'll come
Yep.
through and
Entertaining.
it's nice to be back closer to full strength. Mate, great to have you back with us. Ethan, where can people go and listen to you? Is it UCLA Radio they Google?
Yep, UCLARadio.com.
Beautiful. UCLAradio.com. Thank you very much, Ethan, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Tony. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's great. And thanks for looking at the listeners' questions. Thanks you to the listeners that have all sent something in. Please listen, like, and